you doing today, guys? Welcome back to another day of 7th grade math. Today, we're going to plan a budget. This is what many grown-ups do and many not so grown-ups. And we're going to do a few examples about this. And this is something that I do all the time, okay? Like every 2 weeks, I plan a budget so that I know how much money I have to spend for whatever I need to spend. If I need to pay my credit card, if I need to pay my mortgage, if I need to pay my car note, if I need to pay the Netflix, whatever it is, I'm gonna plan a budget for that. So in this case, if I scroll down, it says, although charts and tables are useful ways to plan and see budgets, they're not necessary to see if expenses and wages allow you to live in a certain city. You can add expenses and compare to wages to see if living in certain city works. Okay? So for instance, let's say that you're gonna move to a different city and you wanna move to a different city and you don't know which one. So you gotta find out the living expenses for each of these two cities, okay? See which city is more expensive to live in than the other one. For instance, in this one we have two cities, City C and City D. Let's call this, I don't know, we're in Houston, so let's call this Houston. If you want to, that's fine with me. Let me see. Houston. And this is San Antonio. Okay, for instance, something like that. Houston and San Antonio. So it says housing in Houston, and these amounts right here is what each one of this is gonna be on that city. So for housing is $900, food you're gonna spend $520, childcare if you have kids you're gonna have to pay $1,050 for childcare, medical cost. Let's say you're gonna pay for insurance. Medical insurance is gonna be $715. Transportation, whether you use the metro, you pay taxi, Uber, or your own car, there's a budget of $350. So that's what you can expect to pay for that, for gas, for instance, if you own a car. Then other necessities, $410. Now, what does it mean by other necessities? That can be, I don't know, like Netflix. If you have a gym membership, something like that. So all of those extra things add up to $410. Okay, it can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't matter. Like if you want to have extra money to go play whatever, main event, whatever. It says the total monthly expenses for CDC add up to this amount. $3,945. Okay, now what did I use in there? They add up to. So that means that you're gonna have to take all of this, add them to get this number. And then there's a federal tax impact. On every state, the taxes are different. Okay, so you're gonna have to pay taxes differently according to any state. In this case, for Houston, I know that we're in the same state, whatever, but you get the point. So in Houston, you gotta pay $419 of taxes. So it says necessary monthly income. So that means that we're gonna have to add these two and put it right here. Why? Because I need to know, besides the total monthly expenses, I gotta pay taxes. These are the taxes. It's like whenever you go to the store, you buy a lot of things, and then if you add up the shelf price, it will not be enough because at the end they're gonna charge you for taxes. Same thing right here. Okay? So in order to find that, all you gotta do is add those two, and then the household hourly wage. And I think this is based in 160 hours a month. 160 hours a month. So it says right here, calculate, the total monthly expenses in City C, write the amount under the chart. So we're gonna skip a lot of this and do it faster. So in order to find City D, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add all this and put it right there. That's gonna be the total monthly expenses. And then we're gonna add to that the taxes and put it right here. And then we're gonna divide by 160. Why divide? You'll see in a minute. Okay, so CDC, you find the total monthly expenses. They're already given to me. And then I know my taxes, they're given to me. So I gotta add those two and find my total monthly income. The total money that I need to make. The total money that I need to make that month to cover that. So all I gotta do is add them up. They're not lined up, so if you want to, you can just go ahead and write it on the sides. And this is gonna be literally number 3. Calculate the necessary monthly income. This is gonna be right here. 3945 plus 419. When you add them, you get 4. Carry the 1. That's 5. The 1 is 6. That's 3. Add 1. And this is 4. So in order to live in Houston, you need $4,364 a month. Okay? Now we need to know how much you gotta make an hour in order to make that amount. Okay? So let's calculate the number 5 right here. Number 5. Calculate the hourly wage for CDC and write down on the chart. Use 160 hours as time work. Why 160 hours? Let me put it right there. A normal job, a full-time job without overtime or anything like that is 40 hours a week. Okay? 40 hours a week. As a teacher, we work 40 hours a week, paid. We of course work extra time after that, unpaid, but that's a different story. So 40 hours a week for 4 weeks, because every month has 4 weeks. So 40 times 4 is 160, and that's where they're coming up with this number right there. Now, in order to find that, all I gotta do is take the 4364 and divide by 160. So I have 4364 divided by 160, and whenever I divide that, I get 27.275. However, whenever I'm talking about money, I go to hundreds place. I cannot have thousands place, so I need to round. In this case, it will be $27.28 per hour. Why per hour? Because we're talking about time, hourly wage. So to live in Houston, I need to make $27.28 at least. If I make more, even better. Okay? But in order to survive in that city, I need to make $27.28 per hour. Now we're gonna do the same thing, but for the other city. In this case, I named it San Antonio. Whatever you want to name it, it doesn't matter. So first of all, I gotta find the total monthly expenses. So I gotta add all of those up: housing, food, childcare, medical costs, transportations, other necessities, to come up with my total monthly expenses. So I'm gonna add them. So I have 850 for housing plus 500. That gives me 1350 plus 1,000 that goes for childcare. It's a little cheaper right there. Plus 700 of medical cost, plus 325 of transportation, plus 380 for other necessities, gives me a total of 3,755. That's my total monthly expenses. This is gonna be number 2, and I just wrote it on the chart. Number 4, calculate the monthly income, the necessary monthly income. So after this number, I have to pay the taxes. After the $37.55, I gotta pay $398 in taxes. So I have to add these two. I have to add those two to come up with my total monthly income, my necessarily income. So 3755 plus 398 gives me 4153. Sorry, that's not a decimal right there. So the total monthly income that I need, the necessarily monthly income I need for that city is $4,153. That's a little less than City A or Houston, right? So my hourly wage, therefore, doesn't have to be as high. It can be a little bit less. And we're gonna find that. In order to find that, we're gonna divide 4153 divided by 160. Again, where that one comes from? The 4 weeks of the month, 40 hours per week. Whenever you divide that by 160, you get 25.956. Again, we need, and it keeps going, 25. But we need to round to the hundredths place, so this is actually going to be $25.96. Again, use the roller coaster, so you have 25.956. So this is 25.95, and this is 25.96. Roller coaster, 0 through 4 and 5 through 9, and this is right here, 25.96. So yes, the second city is a little bit more expensive to live in, but it's manageable. You don't have to live, now it's depending where you want to stay at. You want to stay in Houston, you want to go to San Antonio, it can be Los Angeles, it can be San Francisco, something like that compared to that. Now, if you're talking about LA or San Francisco, yeah, it's a little more expensive than Houston, but way more expensive than Houston. But that's a different thing. Now, number 7 says, in which city is less expensive to live? Well, we found out that City D or San Antonio is less expensive. How much less expensive? How will you find how much less expensive that is? What will you have to do? Look at those. Necessarily monthly income. How much less expensive? All you have to do is subtract those two numbers, 3 and 4. So you do 4364. That's for City A, and 4153. 4153. Subtract those two. Get 1,120. $211. So you will save $211 a month if you go to that city. Now, if they ask you how much would you save per year, what will you have to do then? You multiply that times 12, right? So that is basically planning a budget. They're gonna give you scenarios, which one is more expensive, blah, 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 and go from there. Again, remember, the total monthly expenses, that's before taxes. You just add all your expenses. Add the housing, the food, the childcare, medical costs, transportations, and other. Add them all up. That's just gonna be the total monthly expenses. On top of that, you have to pay taxes. It's like the total monthly expenses will be like a subtotal on a receipt from the store. The total will be with the taxes added. That means you just add them up to that. And then if you want to know how much you make an hour, you just gotta divide it by 160. That's the full-time job, 40 hours a week for 4 weeks. That is planning a budget. If you want to support this channel, links down in the description. That is it for today, guys. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.